So we looked at what the world says about being successful. Now we're going to look at what the Word says. Now, first of all, we are not commanded to be successful, are we? In fact, I was just reading in my own personal devotions this morning about the end of Jesus' life and the time he spent with his disciples. And I thought again about how powerless he seemed to be in the world's eyes. At the end of his life, he had nothing. He had no wealth. He had no political friends that would rescue him. He had no military power. He had nothing. And yet, he had everything. He's been the man with the greatest influence in history. And so the Word does not command us, be successful, be wealthy, be powerful. What does the Word command us to be? To be fruitful. Was Jesus fruitful? Yes, he was. And so we ask ourselves, who is successful? The fruitful person. The person, what makes them successful? Their obedience, their faithfulness, okay? Their character. Isn't that right? What makes them a success? What makes people give them influence? Because they are people of character. They are people who serve. They are people who love. Okay? So who can be fruitful? Anyone. You are not, in the world's eyes, you're only successful if you're extraordinary, if you're lifted up above other people. But we know from being fruitful, anyone can be fruitful. Anyone can have character and love and serve. Anyone can step out in obedience and faith. We can all become fruitful. What is the result of a fruitful life? What is the result? The result is other people, the communities are improved. Aren't they? Because we're living lives of love and service and integrity. God gives us new ideas about how we can make things better. You remember the garden. God gave them the garden and he said, you make it more beautiful. You make it more productive. And so communities should be blessed. Okay? Individuals should be blessed. Because you treat them with love and dignity and respect. Okay? And the result of that is Jesus is lifted up. His name is honored. And no matter what community you live in, if you are surrounded by people of another faith that don't agree with your Christianity, we've seen time and time again that a life that is fruitful wins respect and trust and even love. You find that as educators, don't you? So many people want their children in a Christian school, even if they are Muslim or Hindu, or they don't believe in the God of the Bible. Why is that? If we are fruitful, we honor God, and people come to trust him and honor his name because of our lives, because of how we live. Okay? And so, if this is a picture of fruitfulness, what is the purpose of education? It's preparing young people to live lives that are fruitful. Okay, so the purpose is a discipled life who becomes fruitful. Fruitful in every area. Fruitful whether many people know your name or just a few. Fruitful whether you have lots of money or just enough. Fruitfulness isn't defined by success in the world's eyes. Fruitfulness is something that God brings as we live our lives in obedience to Him. That's what those scriptures pointed us to, isn't it? That knowing the Bible doesn't make us fruitful. Obeying the Bible does. Putting our roots down deep into God's Word so that our minds are being renewed, our lives are being transformed. That more and more we are closer and closer to Jesus. And just like in a family, your face, you begin to look like your parents, don't you? And so this transformation begins with you as a person. We can't teach you how to do things as a teacher and see this kind of fruit. You'll see some of it because you're following God's advice. But the power to live this way comes from being personally planted, having your roots down deep in the soil of reality, who God is, the way He's designed you, which is for loving relationship with Himself. So this session is all about who we are, so that the fruit of our lives brings this kind of change and this kind of blessing. Now we'll begin to explore more and more what that looks like in a classroom. What is your role as an educator? But we had to begin with the purposes of God, the purpose of life, therefore the purpose of education, the purpose of your life, the fruitfulness that you can enjoy and then give away to others.